Hello, it's Lion here with Hobbies Man once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga first impressions review. Today we're going to be looking at Helck #1 by Nanaki Nanao, who has a very alliterated name, which I like a lot. I really enjoy when things kind of go like that. The publisher here is Viz. This is the Shonen Sunday title, so you guys can see right there. And the graphic is shonen, obviously. The genres here are fantasy, adventure, and I would say comedy. At least there's a lot of comedy in this first volume. I don't know if that goes away or not, but it does kind of feel a little bit more serious by the end of the volume. So, yeah, that comedy label might not really stick past the first volume, but I did want to mention it because it does kind of come off that way, even if it doesn't really end up being all that funny to me, because the Japanese kind of straight man humor doesn't really work all that much for me, not that often at least. And yeah, it does not currently have an adaptation, although I'm pretty sure one is coming, which is why we got these like new versions of the Helck release. Because if I remember correctly, Helck initially released in 2014 or something like that, and they had a different release. And then eventually, when an announcement for the anime was going to come out, they made a new version, which is what we're seeing here. I'm not sure if the details are correct, but I'm pretty sure there was an old version, and eventually they came out with a new version, which is this one, and I think the number of volumes changed. So this might be why this feels kind of a little bit thicker than usual. So yeah, but that's really all there is to it. So the premise here is that there's this demon king, and he has died. His name was Thor, and he died. So they have to have a new one, but there really isn't a good way to kind of establish who's going to be the new king without kind of leading everyone to fight. So what the top brass of the demon army decide to do is run a contest. Turns out that this contest is open to anyone of any race, although kind of humans not being allowed was kind of implied, but no one really picked up on that. And so one of the favorites to win the contest is actually a human named Helck. So Helck is not actually this character. Her name is Vermilio. And Helck is this basically like Herculean kind of man. He kind of reminds me of He-Man, actually, which is kind of funny. And so he's one of the favorite contestants to win. And Vermilio, who happens to be the contest runner at the time, because she has to take over someone else that got injured, who's the guy that's on cover 2 of the series, so the dude with the blue hair. And so she's upset that the favorite is this human. And so she decides to run a bunch of like rigged kind of competitions in order to get him to lose, but he doesn't lose ever. So eventually they decide, okay, we need to get rid of this guy, but we can't really do it. But also we just got attacked by these winged creatures. So why don't we send Helck and some other people to go fight these winged creatures, and whoever manages to survive or take down the commander of these attackers gets to be the new demon king. And so they go on this excursion, they reach the place, and then the volume ends. And so I was pretty invested by the end of the volume, although the first 2/3 of it, the kind of contest element of it, wasn't really working for me. So I'm kind of concerned about this because a lot of people seem to love it. Very few people seem to be bored by it. And I initially was in the bored camp, but by the 2/3 mark of the story, and by the time we got used to Vermilio and her kind of hatred for Helck, and then the kind of more serious storytelling started to happen, it really ended up working for me. So I'm definitely invested. It wasn't really that funny, but it worked out very well at the end. And it kind of gives me a vibe similar to Mary Grave. So that's interesting. I just kind of feel like the world building and the kind of the art isn't really all that similar, but it's reminiscent of what I like from Mary Grave. So it kind of reminded me of that. It's kind of an offbeat fantasy series, but isn't in the kind of irreverent or like deconstruction side of things. It's more just like, okay, here's the normal fantasy story. Let's kind of change the situation slightly so it's a little bit funnier and so that it kind of feels different, right? So overall, good stuff. I enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to pick up volume 2. And if this is more than 10 volumes, I probably won't continue it. But if it's like 9, which I think it is, I probably will collect the whole thing and just, decide what to do with it after I finish reading it. But so far, I liked it, even though it was a slow start. It did end up being fun by the end. So yeah, there really isn't too much else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know your thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.